Okay. So this video is going to be answering the question that Cynthia G had in her video. The video was why Spanish women are better wives than Black women. Um, so I wanted to answer that question the way that I felt it could best be answered. I think I have like, let's see, actually, 7 reasons why I believe that Black women do not compare Black men to other races. So, just 1 second. It's like a glisten. Oh no, this is just fine. Okay, so comparing can lead back to the truth, the African American women's inadequacies or inability to change or think for themselves. So, Cynthia G mentioned at the beginning of her video called Why Spanish Women Are Better Wives Than Black Women that Latino is not a race. It is considered part of the Caucasian or Caucasoid racial group, aka, white people. If that's a point, then African American men come from the Negroid group, Black people, which does not stand with any other people who look different within the group. Unlike the Asian group, I believe also known as the Mongoloids, who can be South Asian or East Asian, that ranges from like the Middle East to China. Um, because of that, I feel that Black men are in their own category. The first reason black women don't compare Black men with other races of men is the Black race is in its own category historically, unlike other groups. Technically, without intermingling, Black men are not compared to any other race. The second reason Black women don't compare Black men with other races of men is if Black women compare Black men to other groups, they would have to eventually compare themselves to other races who are single mothers raising their children. So they would first have to be aware that the outcome is either the same or different and why. If the outcome for the other races who are single mothers is better, then they would have to acknowledge that it is either economical or environmental factors causing the difference. If those are not the cause, then they would have to admit that they would have to admit that there may be a cultural problem in the way that they raise their children or how their children perceive and go about life as a whole. The only way the child or children can develop certain skills, if nothing is different, is through how their single mother or single father or parents raise them. So if Black women had to be analyzed, like how they're raising their children as single mothers, that would basically come into play if they started, analyzing men because they're raising a lot of these Black men as single mothers. Basically, is what I'm saying. Excuse me. The third reason Black women don't compare Black men with other races of men is because these particular Black women are only interested in Black men and are women who have not dated outside their race long enough, or even in order to be able to make that comparison. The fourth reason Black women don't compare Black men with other races of men is if Black women talk about how horrible Black men are long enough and loud enough while dating outside of their Black race, they open up the can of worms that allows other races of men to possibly talk about the bad experiences they have had dating a Black woman. And Lord forbid, those be the same reasons that Black men have trouble dating their own women. So, once again, women will kind of be shining the light on themselves. Like, if they start talking about, Black men and comparing Black women, then that means that white men can compare Black women to, white women. And if Black men come up with the same reasons why they're having trouble with Black women, then we have to look at ourselves again and re-examining what we're doing wrong, why we're doing this wrong, and how we can better ourselves. The next reason is Black men don't feel like they can be their full self with other races. Of So they prefer to stick. I'm sorry. I wrote this down. So The next reason black women don't compare black men with other races of men is black women don't feel like they can be their full self with other races of men, so they prefer to stick it out with their own race. So there is no point in them comparing other races of men to their men. So they're more likely to, feel comfortable with their own race of men. So they're not looking to date another type of man. The sixth reason black women don't, so they're not going to compare. They're not going to compare. They're not going to make the comparison. They're not even looking outside of the box to make that comparison. They love being with black men. They're comfortable with black men, and they're not even considering white men or other races. The sixth reason black women don't compare black men with other races of men is they see other races as too weak to handle their black or culturally comfortable and dysfunctional behavior, so they stick with their own race. They are not ready for the changes that they might have to make in order to be accepted by another race. So there's no need for them to compare the men to a race of men who will barely understand or accept them. So they, like I said, they're more comfortable with black men. I feel that, a lot of black women, we have a lot of dysfunctions and, you know, rage from things that have happened to our past. And we don't feel comfortable being with somebody outside of the race. We feel like a black man can handle that. A black man was raised by a black woman, so they know how, we can act, how we can act out. And that's why they're more comfortable with being with a black man. And they're not going to compare a black man to any of those other races because they know that it wouldn't work. It would be canceled out immediately. So the seventh reason black women don't compare black men with other races of men is it does not relate to their family beliefs. It is more than likely not a relatable topic to talk about with their black parents because they will talk to you like you're crazy just for even bringing it up. So yeah, it's not relatable. Your black mom and your black dad aren't really going to sit up there and kind of try to counsel you about your relationship with a Caucasian man. They're just gonna be like, "Girl, you crazy." You know what I'm saying? Y'all got that interracial thing going on. Okay. Now, if it's a black man, I feel like your black parents would be more open to talking to you about it, and it would just be more acceptable. Your black father might not even want to hear your issues with a white man because he's going to completely just dismiss it off as it's because he's a white man, period. So there's nothing to talk about. Black men can't be compared to white men in that situation. And unless your parents start to compare them to black men. And they're not doing that. They're getting them out of the picture and making you just deal with the black man as he is. So there's no need for black women to compare black men to any other race. It is not in the family culture to do so unless it is to talk negatively about white men or some other race that is not one's own race. That is the typical African American family. These are some of the reasons why African American women will not compare their races of men to other races. Comparing can lead back to the truth, the African Americans' women's inadequacies, or inability to change or think for themselves. And basically, I just wrote that quickly. I mean, my opinion can change later in the future. Everybody's opinion can change. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's legit reasons why women aren't comparing, and most of it goes back to their love for black men, the fact that their family accepts only black men, the fact that that's who they could talk to with their family about black men, the fact that black women are most comfortable with black men, the fact that women can be dysfunctional around black men and be comfortable with black men, which is something they probably feel like they cannot do or be with any other type of race. Also, black men and black people are just kind of literally in a race of their own. You can't mix Latinos and white people and Germans and Europeans and say that they're all Caucasoid. That's one thing. You can't really do that with black people. You can't do like Mongoloids and say you have the Middle Easterns and the China and people from China as a group of a race, Mongoloids. Negroids, black people are pretty much by themselves. So historically, black people are pretty much in their own category. Now, people are trying to, you have people who come from the Mongoloid race in the Middle East and places like that who have navigated to Africa. Of course, there has to be some people doing that. And now they claim to be black people, but I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that you clearly can see are African American or are clearly African and not necessarily mixed with anything. So I think that's a couple of reasons why black women are not going to compare themselves, because it opens up a whole avenue for them to be compared. Okay, if a Latino woman, if a white woman, if they're having better results, if a Middle Eastern woman, if they're having better results, if an Asian woman, if they're having better results than you as single parents, as single mothers, then what is it that black people are doing so wrong? What is it that black mothers are doing so wrong? And if that's not to blame, then it's going to go back to what we don't like to go back to, which is it's economical, it's cultural, it's the environment I'm in, it's the fact that I'm not getting paid enough, it's the fact that this and that. So you constantly have to examine yourself if you're going to compare yourself to the black men. And I just feel like it's easier for black women to say, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be compared. I don't want you to think too deep about me. So I'm not going to put you on the pedestal, because the whole thing is that black women are the one raising these black men. So if black women are raising these black men, why aren't they successful? Why isn't that black woman's strength, assertiveness, aggressiveness, demeanor, personality, cultural, foundation building properties not helping this black man? Why isn't it making him stronger than the white man, than the Caucasian, than the Asian, than the Middle Eastern? Why isn't it working? If we did a statistical study right now and grouped single mothers, a single black mom, a single white mom, a single Asian mom, a single mixed mom, raising a black son or just raising a child, period. I mean, the best study would be, let's say they all adopted black male child. Let's just say that for the study sakes. They all adopted black children, a black male, one black male child, and then told them to grow up, raise them so that they can go into the world, and who had better outcomes and why. That's what we would have to look at. So please give me your comments, please give me your feedback, and tell me what you think about what I'm saying. If you have anything to add to this or not, I really appreciate hearing from you. Thank you, and I'll see you guys later.